Okay, continuing on with number 11. I think I'm going to go ahead and start using the extra paper on these. So 11, we have 36x subtract 8 over 35 times 10 over 2 subtract 9x. We're not changing what we're doing. We're still going to factor as much as we can and then cancel out what we can. So what goes into 36 and 8? 4 does, so we're going to have 4 times 9x subtract 2. We're going to go ahead and put this all together. I don't think it makes you do it, but I like having them all together. And then I'd have my 35 times. Now this is this one backwards, so I'm going to do the -1. So -1, and then I'm going to rearrange it. So I'd have a positive 9x and a -2. Now then I'm going to cancel with a highlighter so I don't mess anything up. Then I want to go ahead and simplify these. So 5 goes into 10 and 35, and I'm just reducing these like a fraction. So 5 goes into 10 2 times, 5 goes into 35 7 times. So then I do 4 times 2 is 8, and 7 times -1, so I'm going to put my negative here. And that would be my answer. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to copy 12 over here. So we have 12a subtract 18a squared over 4a squared plus 12a plus 9 times 6a squared plus 13a plus 6 over 9a squared subtract 4. All right, now we go factoring crazy. So out of this top one, I can factor out an a, and then the biggest number that goes into 12 and 18 is 6. So I'm going to factor out 6a. So 12a divided by 6a would leave me with 2, because 12 divided by 6 is 2. A divided by a is blah. It's 1. 18 divided by 6 would be 3. A squared divided by a. So we have 1a left there. I'm going to go ahead and do this side. So I can't factor anything out of all of them because the 13. But I have 6 and 6, and I need it to add to get 13. So you have 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3. If I did 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's going to be it. And it's all plus signs, so we're going to have all plus signs. But we'll have 2a plus 3, and then 3a plus 2. Because I had 2 and 3, and then, yeah, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. Oh, over. So factors of 4 and 9 that add to get 12. That's one of those perfect squares because 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12. So I'd have 2a plus 3 times 2a plus 3. 4a squared, 9, 6, 6. Cool. This is the difference of two squares because the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 4 is 2. So we'll have 2a, 3a, subtract 2, and 3a plus 2 because 2 goes at the end, 3 goes at the front. Huh. Huh. Okay. Cancel time. So we have, where do we want to start? We'll start here. So we have 2a plus 3 and 2a plus 3. Then we have 3a plus 2, 3a minus 2, and 2 subtract 3a. So on this one, these are the same thing, just backwards. So if we did that -1 here, then we have a positive 2 and a negative 3a. So that's what we're going to do. So this is going to, and let me draw like little lines here. So I feel like I need to highlight them in a different color. All right, so then all that's left after all of that madness, but that madness is what makes me happy about this, is 6a over, and it's negative 2a plus 3. All right, we're going to copy that over. So we have negative 6a over 2a plus 3. Beautiful. Next problem. All right, this one, we have that 3 at the front. I guess I'll copy it down quick. Times 8x plus 56 over 6x squared plus 18x. Every one of these we can factor out a number first before we do anything. And some of them you have to factor the number out first to be able to do anything. So this first one, we can factor a 3 out of it, and we'd be left with x cubed subtract 27. And that's going to be the difference of cubes because we have x and 3. Right here, we're going to factor out an 8, so I'd have x plus 7. Right. Yeah. Down here, I can factor out a 4, so I'd have x squared plus x subtract 12. Here I can factor out a 6, so I'd have x squared plus 3x plus 9. Now then I can keep factoring. So we're going to go ahead and keep factoring. So we're going to do the cube here. So I have 3 times x subtract 3 times x squared plus 3x plus 9. This one was factored all the way, so 8 times x plus 7. 4 factors of 12 that subtract to get 1 would be 4 and 3, so I'd have x plus 4, x subtract 3, 6. This is the same thing as this, so I'm not going to factor it. I'm going to just cancel it out. Okay, cancel time. So I can cancel this one and this one and this one and this one. And then 8 times 3 is 24 and 6 times 4 is also 24. So our numbers are actually all going to cancel as well. So we have x plus 7 divided by x plus 4, because I'll make a little note here. So x plus 7 divided by x plus 4. Copy number 14 down. So we have x squared subtract 6x subtract 7 over 2x squared subtract 98 times x squared plus 14x plus 49 divided by 4x squared plus 32x plus 28. All right, let's factor this. So that first one factors a 7, that subtract to get 6 would be 7 and 1. So x, and we want it to be a -6, so -7 times x plus 1. Over here, 49, factors of 49 that add to get 14 would be 7. So we're going to have x plus 7 twice. Right here, it's going to end up being the difference of two squares. So I'm going to factor out this 2 and I have x squared subtract 98 divided by 2 is 49. So I'm going to have x subtract 7 and that 2 still here times x plus 7. All right, I'm going to factor out a 4 over here. So we'd have x squared plus 32 divided by 4 equals 8 plus 7. Factors of 7 that add to get 8 would be 7 and 1. So I'd have x plus 7 times x plus 1. Go cancel crazy. So I have a plus 7 here, and there's plus 7 here. I have a plus 1 here, there's plus 1 here. Plus 7, subtract 7, subtract 7. So on the top, I'd still have a 1, and 2 times 4 is 8. So 1/8. All right, now we're to our division part, and it's the exact same. You just have to remember where in the beginning when we were talking about keep, change, flip, we're going to do that again. So we keep 3x divided by 5. We're going to change it to multiplication, and we're going to flip these. So keep, change, flip. And the next 4 are all like this. So keep, change, flip. So let's go ahead and factor this out. So I'd have 3x divided by 5. And this would be 5 times x plus 2. And this one would be 6, and it would be x plus 2 as well. So these two would cancel. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And then 3 divided by 6, this would be 2. So we'd end up with x over 2. Because 3 goes into 3 one time and 3 goes into 6 2 times. I didn't make that clear. 16. So I'm going to keep, change, flip. So x squared subtract 12x plus 36 over x squared subtract 5x subtract 6. Those division, we're going to change, and then we're going to flip. Okay, factoring this one, factors of 36 that add to get 12. And since there's a subtract here, I'm going to have x subtract 6 twice. The 4 will stay. Here, factors of 6 that subtract to get 5 would be 6 and 1. So x subtract 6, since it was -5, x plus 1. And this is the difference of two squares, so we have x plus 6 times x minus 6. So x minus 6, they will cancel, x minus 6 here. So we're left with 4 over x plus 1 times x plus 6. Oh, I really hope not. I guess you may not have seen me cancel or write that out. Oh. So we have 4 over x plus 1 times x plus 6. And be sure you write this in parentheses. You missed me writing it twice. Be sure you're writing in parentheses because it's not all one thing. It's not 2x plus 7. It's x plus 1 times x plus 6. I don't think they want you to FOIL it out though, so you don't have to do that. You just have to write it like this. Okay, 17. Yeah, you probably need a new page. Since it's division, we're going to keep, change, flip. So you have x squared subtract 5x subtract 24 over 2x squared subtract 128 times, because we change it, flip, so x squared plus 16x plus 64 over x squared plus 11x plus 24. All right, factors. So factors of 24 that subtract to get 5 would be 8 and 3, and it'd be negative 8 because of 5, so x subtract 8 times x plus 3 over this. We're going to be able to factor out a 2, and it'd be x squared subtract 64, so that's the difference of 2 squares. So x subtract 8 times x plus 8. Factors of 64 that add to get 16 would be 8 and 8, so we have x plus 8 twice. Factors 24 that add to get 11, it's opposite of this one, so it'll be x plus 8, x plus 3, because 8, 9, 10, 11, and it's positive, so cancel. We have x plus 3, x plus 3, x plus 8, x plus 8, x plus 8. So our answer would be 1/2. Okay, last one, 18. We have 4x subtract x squared over x cubed subtract 64 times, flip it, x squared plus 4x plus 16 over x. Well, at least this one's factored. Ow, money. Okay, so out of this one here, all we can factor out would be an x. So we'd be left with 4 subtract x. Here it's going to be x, and then the cube root of 64 is 4. So I have x subtract 4 times x squared plus 4x plus 16. That is what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and put times x here. And there's no factors of 16 that add to get 4. So those cancel. Right here, these x's will cancel. These are the opposites of each other, so we'd have a -1 in one of these areas. And then that would have changed. I guess I'll regret. We'd have -1 here. And that would make it a -x and a -4. So we'd have 4 subtract x. And then these would cancel. So our answer is going to be 1 over -1, or just -1. Okay, that was lesson 6.1. Send me any emails if you get caught up on any of this, because I kind of enjoy doing it.